Hey guys, hope you're all well, staying safe and all that. Welcome to Jake's Metal Chat, episode 24. This one's a bit on the early side. This is start this one at 3 p.m. today, this afternoon. Oh yeah, t-shirt today, benediction. It's the 30th anniversary of Subconscious Terror. I mean, this shirt came out last year, but still, that album's 30 years old, will be 31 this year. Hang on. There we go. And you probably heard one of the dogs howling. My participant isn't. Oh no, wait, there he is. Before I get started, pretty much going through my first podcast episode, my first episode on my podcast, and should be done this month and hopefully out in January or even in February. And and again, speaking of benediction, it's David Ingram's birthday today, so big happy birthday to that man. And for my podcast, well, I will be chatting to members of bands like I do here, as well as playing their music. So, but yeah, if you're gonna look for my podcast, it'll be on Mixcloud, because I think that's where a lot of them are going now. And so yeah, there we go. So better get my guest on and get some metal on the go. And also my copy of Ward Jr.'s new album came. Going to be listening to that after doing this. And also my copy of Frozen Soul's debut Crypt of Ice arrived 2 days before, and that album is excellent, one of my favourites so far. And will be on my end of 2021 list when it gets there. I mean, it's only the start though, so it's more albums to come. Let's get them.
Hello, mate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent.
Need to see you.
Yes. Start video. There we go.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. How have you been?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
Oh, awesome. You're wearing a Guillotine Dream shirt, I think.
Yeah, I'm representing Guillotine Dream today.
Yeah, I was just watching a music video that our good friend Richard Durst directed.
Ah, yes, he did a brilliant job. He did 3 for us, I think, in the end.
Yeah, I watched one. You're all in like masks and gather around like a little campfire under a little bridge or something.
Yes, that's it. That's Lemuria. Yeah.
Yeah. Saw Adam and quite a few other people I knew.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, welcome to Jake's Metal Chat. You are guest number 24, as this is episode 24.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I had Mike on here already.
Yes, I watched that. It was great.
Oh, cheers. Glad you enjoyed.
Yeah.
Chatted about, obviously, the drowning that he's in pretty much all the time. And he also played with your band, which we're going to talk about in this episode.
Yeah, because I've known him since, I think it was 2007 we met, something like that. So I've known him a long time.
2007, I was still at secondary school.
Yeah, he's a good mate, and we've done lots of gigs together. So.
And I witnessed, I don't know, maybe half of those.
Have you? Oh, bloody hell.
In like the 2010s, even not like early days now.
Yeah.
Sometime after that, so only that portion of it. And this man here, people, his name is Ian. He is the guitarist and vocalist of My Silent Wake. No, I'm not. No, you're going to think I was going to say My Dying Bride. No, that's wrong. My Silent Wake, and of course, the band on his shirt, Guillotine Dream, and he's also got a solo project under his own name, which a lot of people seem to do nowadays.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking. I love Devin Townsend, and his stuff's always amazing.
Yeah. Well, it was a lockdown thing, It's like had lots of time on my hands, and I'd turned 50. I thought, oh, well, maybe it's time to do a solo album, and it's quite different to anything I've done before, really.
Also, something to do when you turn 50 or before you turn 50. Like things to do when you're 50. Make a solo album. That's me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's it. That's it. Do that. And are you drinking tea or coffee?
I've got tea at the moment, but I like both. So
A very British thing. A good old cup of tea. What do you prefer? PG Tips or Yorkshire tea?
yeah, from a Tetley mug as well. Look at that.
That was a Tetley mug, huh?
Yeah,
I drink Yorkshire tea.
we have good tea. Yeah, we like that, and we get some Welsh tea as well here
Oh,
because in Wales, which is really nice.
yeah, I just prefer Yorkshire tea to PG Tips, but I might get people going, oh, blasphemy. So no, Yorkshire tea's just better. Tetley's is alright.
I'm a bit strong. I don't care.
But anyway, off the tea subject.
Yeah.
During the first lockdown, how were you coping? Were you going crazy? Or obviously you got
Oh,
your
not
music,
at all. I loved it in a way because
and that to keep you occupied.
yeah, well, I was off. I was off work. I've been off work for a while, sick, and my girlfriend Sarah, she started working from home.
Uh,
So and the weather was lovely, so we just chill out here, doing our own thing. There's always plenty to do
mm,
here, because I've got my garden and my railway and various things out there, and I like reading, and you never get bored.
no, not really. I mean, I had my music to help me get through this, and also starting these videos here have been
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
keeping me occupied and everything.
I think anything creative as well will get you through those sort of times. I did some painting last April. I got into doing that as well. So I think anything creative, which sort of occupies you for a while, it's better than just around watching things or just vegetating.
Yeah, because I think all I did was when it was a lockdown, I was like, oh, can't go anywhere. What can we do? Oh, I'll just be on YouTube and that all the time and drink a lot, which
Yeah, I can get bored after a while.
got yeah, it took its toll after a while. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to cut down a bit.
Yeah.
If it's someone's birthday or something completely different, like Ye Banished Pirateers is a pirate folk band from Sweden,
All right.
so I'll just get a lot of rum and beer for that.
Yeah.
And after that, it's like, nope, got to calm down now.
Yeah.
And then start again in the weekend. Start again in the week on the weekend. Well, it's good that you had music and that to keep you occupied and painting, and you'll. And I think you told me over Facebook you've retired.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I've been off sick for a while, and yeah, I just decided it was time to call it a day, really, because I was like a train driver of freight trains. I've been doing that I started in 2002, so
Well,
been doing it for a good few years. And I've got just enough in my pension to live on now, so decided to do that. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and just spend my time doing my music and my railway, my own railway stuff. So.
Well, yeah, you got your band, you got your band and your other stuff to fall back on, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's right. There's no money in the band. I don't make any money from it, but
No.
as long as I've got enough to live on from what I get from my work pension, um, it just gives me plenty of time to do creative stuff, which is what I love doing.
And that's great.
Yeah.
That's good. Anyway, and this is another question I like to ask all the guests that I've had. your music journey. Where did that start, and how did it get into this awesome music that we love called metal?
Right. It didn't take long to get into metal, to be honest, because I started. Um, I think probably the first band I liked was Zeppelin, because my parents had a reel-to-reel tape recorder, and there was a recording of Zeppelin 4 on there. And not that they were into that, but someone had given it them. And I remember playing around listening to it, and it was really good. And I started like recording the top 40 and stuff like that, listening to that sort of thing at the time. And then I got into like Adam and the Ants. I think that was the first band I really, really loved. And then I liked things like Bauhaus and that. And then I started listening to, I think it came on the radio. It was Saxon and the bands played on when that was actually released, which was probably 82, maybe, something like that. It might be earlier than that. And so that was the first, although I'd heard rock, I'd heard a bit like punk and that sort of thing. I'd never heard metal at that point. So yeah, that was the first thing. I remember sitting in my garden with the radio on, just Radio 1 it wasn't, hearing and the bands played on, and I was just blown away by it. So that was the first bit of metal I enjoyed. I always loved, I went back to like Zeppelin, and they're my favourite band, they've been for ages. So I've always loved them. And then I just started getting into more metal, like Maiden, and like Sabbath were another band I really got into. But at the same time, I enjoyed like more gothic stuff and like experimental stuff. I think when I first heard Tubular Bells, Mike Oldfield, that blew me away completely. So I've always had a love for those styles, and like folk. I love folk. So there's like various like avenues I've gone down with music. But as far as metal goes, yeah, it was Saxon, Maiden, Priest, Sabbath, and then I took a bit of a detour because I was like a Christian at the time, and I got into all the Christian music, like all the Christian metal bands, and so they were quite an influence on me when I started Seventh Angel, which was my first band. And then from that, I got into like thrash as well, and I've always liked doom metal. Trouble, one of my favourite bands.
Oh yeah, Trouble, great.
But I don't listen to much Christian stuff now, but I listen to it sometimes for nostalgic purposes, because I'm like agnostic these days. But I can still listen to it. But I mean, some of the music was really good to me. And then I think, yeah, I like a bit of black metal, mainly the sort of experimental stuff, like In the Woods, that kind of thing. I got into there. So it's like a bit of everything, really, apart from like, I'm not into like hip hop and rap, and I'm not into like manufactured pop music, that kind of thing.
No, it's not for me. It's not for you. It's not. No.
Not anyone with any ears. But I don't know. I think generally I've got a pretty broad taste of what I will listen. Broad taste and quite open-minded as to what I will listen to.
Yeah, that's great. You said folk earlier. I like my folk music. I got Wardruner's new album in the post today.
Oh right, yeah, I've heard a bit of them. They sound good.
Yeah, there's I know Selvik.
Yeah,
I said his last name wrong. I probably butchered it. He's probably thinking Dave Round. But no, I just say his first name. Like, I know.
Yeah.
Or have that as my character name in Bloodborne.
Right. Cool.
And I was looking behind you as well.
Yeah, mate.
Got a frame drum and.
Yes, that's right, mate. Yeah.
The
there, which I've used both of those on recordings. I've got just under there's a harmonium. You probably can't see it. I'm not going to move it. I've got it.
Keep it there, just guess.
And I've been messing around with the Dulcin. Well, I'll just get it for you quickly.
Yeah, actually, I need to get you my frame drum. Be back in a minute, guys.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is
wait,
messing with trying to get into the last few days.
that's awesome.
Better-
Well, oh my god. I got a 22-inch frame drum.
Oh, excellent. Oh wow! I bet that makes a lovely noise.
I mean, I'm going to get the beater out because I got neighbours whose house is quite close to where my room is, and I got a neighbour who's in her 90s and she's quite hard of hearing anyway. So if I hit this any louder, she won't hear it,
Ah, that's
which is
handy.
great. Which, if she could hear it, she'll probably think, "Oh, I love that." Yeah, it's like, well, I got it because I'm in a pagan group as well,
Oh yeah.
the Bristol and Somerset Heathens,
Oh really?
and I joined that 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and I've always been. I got into paganism like earlier than that,
Oh yeah.
more on the nature side, but
Yeah.
so I love nature, and I can't really go out in it because everyone's like, "Stay 2 meters apart." Well, well, not solid because you've got to keep safe.
Yeah. Absolutely,
But,
mate.
you know, but I want to go back out and go back to the woods and
Yeah, it'll change.
change because usually do rituals outside with my pagan group.
Oh yeah.
Usually, but now I've got to do like what we're doing now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I got to let my neighbours know. Oh, I'm going to be banging my drum on Thursday. Just be wary. No, I'm going to do that.
You have to come down here. You can bang it as loud as you like.
Okay, where do you live?
I live in Wales near Carmarthen,
Oh yeah,
which is died, you know. So it's
Mike said you don't live very far away from him or something.
well, it's in the same country, but it's about an hour and a half drive.
Oh yeah, he said about an hour and a half away. But
Yeah.
all good. Well, because he used to play in your band, which we're going to get onto in a minute,
Yeah, mate.
and just chat about whatever. Because I was like, because you said folk, or like I said, I just mentioned folk earlier, and I saw the frame drums and everything. I thought I'm going to share my frame drum, and I
Yeah.
got a tackle harper as well.
The what, sorry, mate?
A tackle harper is a bowed instrument.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I could go and get it. Oh, well, it's Mrs. My Chat videos. I'll share what I want, so I'll go get it. I mean, on these show, on my videos, we talk metal, folk, and whatever the hell else people like to talk about. We talked about bloody tea.
Talked about it. That's got the most important thing out of the way, anyway.
So that's it.
Ah, lovely. That's like a friend of mine's got a very similar looking thing. It's what's it called?
Might have to retune some bits.
Yeah.
And replace one of the strings because obviously you gotta have that to put the strings up. And
Yeah.
then tune it. When I got it, I just tuned it. And I was like, oh. It's a learning curve with these instruments because I usually played my guitar in that. Oh yeah, and the operator, yeah, got to have one of these.
Oh yes. What is it? My friend's got. It's a really similar thing. It's on one of our albums. I'll have to look it up.
Man.
Yeah, Yahiko is. The Yahiko? Or does that ring a bell?
I think so. Yeah.
It looks very much like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of instruments like that, like bowed wise. Well, obviously violins and cellos and that.
But it's very similar to that. It's got like 3 strings, you play a drone, and
Yeah, because you can get a 2-string, 3-string. I think I've seen a bloody 5-string one of those, or 6-string or 7-string. What bloody like 7-string, and then there's like a lyre or lay, however it's called, is another instrument that I know plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just going to buy a lot of folk instruments like that because I'm doing my own folk project as well.
Yeah, it's nice to have a good collection of instruments. If you're doing your own recording, you can just play a bit of everything, can't you?
Like I got a interface, and I got the SM7B microphone,
Okay.
which is great for doing vocals and also for doing podcasts.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Stuff like that. Stuff like that. I mean, I was going to plug it in for this, but I
Yeah.
think when I tried doing it for a sea shanty Zoom session that I was on last week, I think I had to go on the settings and change it to built-in microphone to microphone.
Yeah. It's a bit of a faff, isn't
So
it?
I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'll just get instead of plugging that in, I'll just get another microphone, put it there, and put on a little stand over here.
That's a good idea.
Now let's get on to the band of the video, and I got one of the CDs here. It's from
Okay.
2015, but you guys have been going since 2005.
Yes, correct. Correct.
That's been a long time now. That's been
Yeah, it is. 16 years, yeah.
16 years, because
16 years.
2025 will be 20 years. Well, there you go.
Yeah, indeed.
And well, speaking of it being from 2005, I'll show this one first. It's more of a
Oh, yeah.
compilation, which has stuff from
Yeah,
2005 to 2015. So that's 10 years of music right there.
that's right, mate. Yeah, it's a compilation now because it took a lot of ground. Yeah. Yeah. And we put out a few more since then as well.
Yeah, you got one from last year, which I've yet to hear. Because there's
Yeah.
so many albums I missed in 2020. I was just like thinking to myself, you stupid motherfucker.
You can always pick them up whenever, can't you?
Because I had so many albums to listen to, and I managed to listen to like 3 more before the year ended. And then I looked on my iTunes, it's like, oh, Primitive Man's new album, for sake. But
If you're into a lot of different styles of music, there's no way you can keep up with everything.
yeah, I just stuck with death metal.
Yeah.
And I heard My Dying Bride's new album that year as well, and I absolutely enjoyed that.
Yeah, I haven't heard that yet. I've followed Paradise Lost's latest stuff, but
I've heard that one. I really liked it.
yeah, I really like that. Their last 3 albums, I think, have been excellent.
Oh yeah, The Plague Within, that's a great one.
Yeah, Medusa and the new one.
Obsidian.
Obsidian, yeah.
I'm guessing with the band My Silent Wake.
Yes.
Where did the name come from?
I thought it up, and I don't know how I don't know where it came from. It was just an idea, and I remember at the time, our drummer at the time, Jason, he said, "Oh, isn't that a bit like My Dying Bride?" And I was like, "No, it's nothing like My Dying Bride."
Well,
and
you both got My in it.
Listen to him, really.
Didn't really listen to him.
What's that?
You didn't really listen to My Dying Bride?
Oh no, I really listened to My Dying Bride,
okay,
but I mean, I should have listened to my drummer because I think in some ways it's made people think that we're going to sound like My Dying Bride, even though quite a lot of the time we sound nothing like.
I've heard your music and I've heard My Dying Bride's music. It sounds nothing alike.
I love to hear that because you wouldn't believe how many reviews have compared us to My Dying Bride, and at first it's great because they're, obviously one of my favourite bands, but eventually you're kind of like, but we're not them.
No, you're not. You're not them, but I think you drew influence from them, and some melodies might sound like some of their stuff, but all in all, you're 2 completely different bands. Just you both got they got Dying Bride, and you got Silent Wake.
Exactly.
That's the only difference.
Yeah, it's but yeah, definitely an influence, but not just them. Obviously, a lot of other bands as well. A lot of rock bands.
I'm just going to name a few bands like Paradise Lost and Guessing.
Definitely.
Um, Trouble.
Trouble. Black Sabbath, obviously.
Who else?
The
Sabbath.
Woods. Yeah, totally. Sabbath. In the Woods.
In the Woods.
I don't know, there's so many, because I'm really into Dead Can Dance as well. So, I mean, they've always influenced me. But, I mean, it's a list as long as, it would go on all for the
forever. I was going to name another band from Sweden. One of my favourite Swedish doom bands, Candlemass.
Love Candlemass. Yeah, I love Candlemass, and I like all their stuff. I don't just like the Messiah Mark Hollins stuff. I think I think all their albums are good.
Yeah, because I got their very first album, Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus.
And they've got that vocalist back again now.
Yeah, they got him back because it wasn't Malcolm. Everyone was going to think, oh, that's Malcolm's. Like, that's not Malcolm. That's their original vocalist, who I think was actually in like a Swedish pop band or something.
Yeah, he's a great singer. I've seen him a couple of times live, but they had Matt Slevin then, but he was good as well, Matt Slevin. Yeah, because I think they recorded an EP with him, I think, but I don't think they did an album with him.
I can't remember. But I saw Candlemass at Netherlands Death Fest 2 back in 2017, and they played all of Nightfall.
Oh, fantastic.
From start to finish, it was amazing.
Oh, brilliant.
So those influences. Lyrical themes deal with, well, I'm just trying to think your lyrical themes now.
Well, they're mainly, for me, my lyrics in my Silent Wake, not in other bands maybe, but in that particular band, my lyrics tend to deal with sort of things I've dealt with in my life, or things that I've been thinking about. They're quite personal, really. So they are kind of putting all your dirty washing out onto the table, really. Some we are, but it's good. It's helpful when you having like times where you're suffering with depression. It's very helpful to write it down, to make lyrics, to make something good out of the crap you're going through in a way.
Yeah, basically, it's like I was looking at the lyrical themes, because your band's on the Metal Archives, like most bands are these days. Yeah. It says faith, loss of faith, despair, and hope.
That's pretty good. It's not just that, but I mean,
that's like the ones. That's like the main ones they've put.
No, that's pretty good actually, because that does cover quite a lot of what we sing about. But no, it's not just that. I mean, it's quite a lot of different things. One big subject for me has been sort of estrangement, really. I mean, from people you care about. That's been a big subject for me. So quite a few songs have been about that. It's about all sorts of things, really. And yeah, I mean, what I'm writing now, the lyrics I'm writing now are slightly more abstract, but I don't know. I think the last song I wrote for my Silent Wake was about depression. I think we've got another metal album we're working on at the moment, and I think there's 3. I've written lyrics for 3 songs. One's about that. One's kind of about the origins of war and how people, kind of dictators, and how it comes about, really. The things they see and the way they want to control things, and it's like that's another subject that we kind of write about sometimes, and I don't know. I'm trying to think what the other song.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of lyrical things we can't cover. Won't be able to cover them all, but
yeah, exactly.
I love the music, because I'm trying to remember the first time I saw you guys. Now it might have been. I'm trying to think. I know I've seen you at the Griffin a few times.
Yeah.
The Exchange and Might have seen you at the Fleece once, or I'm probably making that up.
No, we have. Yeah,
I might have seen you at the Fleece.
We have played there. We played with oh, who was it? I can't remember who we played with, but it was a long time ago. That was. So I don't know.
Might have been before I saw the lineup that I saw.
Yeah, it might have been. That was quite a
Because
long.
the lineup I've only seen is you, Mike, Adam,
Yeah.
and Gareth.
Oh, okay. Right.
I don't think I've seen any. I don't think I've seen your original drummer play.
No, I mean, but Gareth's been in the band a long time now. To be fair, so
Yeah,
yeah,
since
yeah.
2014.
So yeah, I mean, he's probably the longest. Would he be the longest serving drummer? Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, because the band I saw him in was obviously they're no longer going, and that's Amputated.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I saw him play with them a few times as well. So totally different style of drumming, but still.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because he's more blast beats and stuff. And how I heard about Amputated, and I think this is how most people heard about him, or they actually did see him play gigs, was when they did that Singing with the Enemy. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. Yeah. That's right.
I just love that. Like they ask, "Who are you?" I'm Mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, we're Amputated. Like, and then there's Gareth. Like, I think
I'd like to watch
he's
that
just
again
coming in
now.
with
Actually.
like a big bottle of fucking cider or something. I think it was when they went down to the basement area.
I'm gonna have to look that
I'm gonna have
up.
to rewatch it because I just found it absolutely hilarious. And then there's Ollie coming in with a big bloody battle axe.
Yeah,
like,
I must have had so much fun doing that.
they basically it's like, oh, do you want to do this? Yeah, and it's like drink as much as you want. All right.
Yeah.
And then showing off the influences, and there they are, just sat there. Like, we'll get back to my silent wake in a minute because I just remembered that then.
Yeah.
There they all sat down on the sofa, and the girls from what are they called?
I don't know, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's right, Fallen Angel,
Mm.
something like that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not into that sort of music, so I don't really give a crap. They put on In Sync, that that other crappy pop band. I'm dissing pop, I know.
This pop, mate, I hate it. Oh, I can't even stand to listen to it anymore. It's
Well,
just
that's
like
why I don't really talk about it on here. I only talk metal and folk.
honestly.
I talk a lot of metal stuff, folk stuff, and
Mhm.
with my Silent Wake is a lot of gothic stuff. But yeah, there they all just sat on the sofa watching this band, and they're just like this. If that was me, like, just turn this absolute bollocks off.
Yeah.
Stick on some Devourment or some My Dying Bride or Candlemass or Zeppelin, and I'll be fine. This crap, you can just no.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny, and the whole episode's funny. If people want to watch it, just watch it. It's just freaking hilarious. Seeing some drunken metalers from Bristol and different parts of Somerset. Oh, I mean, Ollie's from Wales, so Bristol and Wales, shall I say? England and Wales. You get the band's formed in Bristol, so Bristol band, all Bristol, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, funny episode. Watch it. It's here on YouTube somewhere. Anyway, get back to my Silent Wake because that's the whole point of this video. We're talking metal. We're not talking all that overproduced rap and pop and all that crap. Someone else can talk about that. For this, we're talking some great gothic doom, gothic death doom, goth doom, whatever you guys want to be called.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Well, again, the archives it said gothic death doom metal.
That's fair enough.
And obviously, I haven't got any of the other albums because the first album came out in 2006.
Yes, that's correct, mate. Recorded in 2005.
Shadow of Sorrow.
That's right.
So I don't have these albums. I've got to look at them.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
then,
that
um,
was the first
sorry,
album.
and then
Yeah, first album recorded. I think it was about November. We'd only started in May, and then I think we recorded that. It was only a few months later we
they're
recorded
all
it.
there.
That's right. Yeah. So I was in another doom band called Ash and Mortality, and so I'd written some songs. So I had some songs already written that I used with my song Wake, and I wrote some extra ones, and me and Andy wrote one together. Yeah, Andy was our other guitarist at the time, and yeah, so it was pretty quick. I mean, the band, as I say, started in May. I think we did our first demo like a few weeks later.
Yeah, first demo.
It all happened, but as soon as Ash and Mortality finished, that was it. I wanted to get on with a new band, you see.
And that's where My Silent Wake came from.
Yeah, and really it was a continuation of Ash and Mortality because the three of us that started My Silent Wake at the very start were the last three people that played the last Ash and Mortality gig, basically, at in Western at Hobbits. So
Yeah, that's yeah. Well, at least you're continuing on from your last band, and the album I'm going to show
yeah,
is this one.
right, yeah,
That's the one I
that's
got.
the one. Yeah, that's Damnatio from that's about 5 years old now, isn't it? 5 or 6 years.
This came out in 2015. Yeah,
Yeah,
6 years old then.
yeah. So that was the first one we did with Gareth, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because well, there's only three. There's three of you in here.
Yeah, so it's
There's
me, Gareth.
Gareth,
Yeah.
Adam, and you with short hair.
That's right, because I locked my locks off for a while and then grew them back again.
You can tell there's Gareth because he's wearing a Deeds of Flesh hoodie.
Yeah. And I'm wearing a Bauhaus t-shirt, the big goth that I am.
And then there's Adam wearing. I recognise the logo, but I don't know who it is.
Let's have a look. Yeah.
And there's some artwork.
Yeah, that's great art. It's that's by Yuha Vuama. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's
I have no idea. But
Adam's wearing an undersmile hoodie, I believe.
okay. I'll show it again. See if you can.
Yeah, it's an undersmile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the only album I own. Because I got the not anthology for compilation.
Yeah.
And there's one under the CD.
Yeah, that's in my back garden when I lived in Weston.
Oh, cool. Oh yeah, Western. What a place.
I love Weston.
That's part of my childhood, going to the pier.
Yeah.
And
Right.
here's the CD.
Yeah.
Look at it, people. Look at it. Look at the logo. And their handsome faces.
Yeah.
For this album, this is the only one I got, and I'll ask about the other ones. How long they all took to record?
Oh bloody hell! I can't remember that.
Like roughly what?
A few days. Normally, it's probably about between 4 days and 10 days. Normally, I'd say to record and mix an album. I think some of them were really quick. I mean, our first one, Shadow of Sorrow, I think that was recorded and mixed in 3 or 4 days. The next one was the double album, so that took a bit longer. And our last album that we did, that's different because it was recorded in our homes, basically, different times. So that spanned quite a long period. But that was more of an experimental album, so it's quite a different process. But the last metal album we did, which was There Was Death, that was a bit more complicated because we recorded that in different places and then finished it off with Greg, Greg from Esoteric at Priory. we sort of finished it off there. Some of it was recorded in Western 13 sound, and then then we went to Priory to finish it. So that was more complicated. It's not done in one. Yeah, these days. But yeah, for the ones that we just went in and did, some of them were very quick. I mean, this one, so I've handily got all my albums here. This is my career in music here. So yeah, that one was done very quickly. That was done at the Priory, completely done at the Priory. And on that we've got the drummer from Guillotine Dream, Mark. And I think it tells you somewhere how long it took, but it certainly wasn't very long.
Usually tells you
3 or 4 days, I think it was. It just basically means you start off with a budget, and then you go in, you sort of work out how many days you've got, and then you do it in that space of time, and that's it really.
Yeah. Well, that's these albums are complicated because I've mentioned my band before. I mean, I got one I'm trying to record a demo for, one I'm trying to record an EP for. Artwork's done, just need to get the EP done.
Yeah.
My other band, Herbicidal, which is more on the Stoner Doom side. Well, I say Stoner Doom death metal because I do a bit of growls and stuff. They did the music in all the music in 5 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
And then me and Lee on the. Sorry, I'm just putting my bed. Me and Leon did our vocals in 2 separate recording days.
Oh, really?
But we didn't do it in a studio. We did it at RS Studios here in Bristol, in our rehearsal space.
Well, I've never had anyone comb their beard at me before.
It's a bit knotty, and I didn't brush it when I got out of the shower. I usually do. I don't care. We're in lockdown. We can be as messy as we want.
Absolutely.
We can be as messy as we want. I was just going to say my favourite song from this album. Actually, were you going to just say something?
No, I was just saying this is a clean shaven look for me. This is.
Well, you got a goatee.
I'm normally a bit like that, like hair sort of coming out everywhere.
Yeah, you got a goatee though.
I have got a goatee, but I've sort of trimmed it a bit here. So.
I usually trim these. I haven't done it in a while, but we're talking beard care, people.
Picking out of my eyebrows for some reason. She's always picking hairs out my eyebrows because she's like, that's too long. It's got to go.
It's got to go. We're talking beard care. I mean, you got to look after your beard sometimes, but when you're at a festival, that all goes out the window.
Everything goes out the window at a festival.
Don't shower. I mean, you clean yourself with wet wipes, but they only do so much.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Because me and Sarah, we've been helping out at Bloodstock in the welfare, which has been, every year that's been an adventure.
The welfare, yeah.
Yeah, well, my mate Mark from Detritus and Seventh Angel, he runs the welfare there. So.
Oh yeah, I've seen the welfare bit. I'm trying to think if that's the one in Midgard.
It's the one. It's near the village. It's in the.
Okay.
Yeah, it's by the hospital. It's next to the hospital.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I know.
So
I know there's one. I know there's one in Midgard.
Yeah, well, the main thing's there, and people will come in for the medics, and you're always having to say no. They want the medics, and they come in, and we're like, no, over there, and that's what you spend most of your time doing. But you do look at some people in some horrendous states.
Yeah, the first time I went to Bloodstock, this didn't happen to me. This happened to a mate of mine. He got really, really drunk.
Yeah.
Ended up in the medical tent. Left. Watched my sugar. I tried calling him for ages. Didn't pick up. Saw him after OPEF, and I was like, I've been trying to call you all bloody day and everything. He's like, oh, I left my phone in our mate's tent. It's like, oh.
Well, he would probably have come to us then, if he would. Yeah, if rather than the medical side, because
if you did see him, he had a big afro.
I think we probably did. We
Yeah,
probably.
my mate Chris.
Yeah.
You might have saw him, but I think he said he woke up on one of the little like
Little bed.
buggies, like milk buggy.
Well, yeah, we have little camp beds laid out.
Yeah, he woke up on like someone driving into the tent or something. I don't know, but anyway. My favourite song from this album, I love the whole album, but my favourite one is track number 5, and so it comes to an end.
Ah, yes. That's
I,
we did a video for as well.
yeah,
Yes.
because I
In fact,
mentioned
Durs
it.
did the video for that. Durs did the video for that as well.
He did the video for that. Awesome.
Video for that, and it was great because we had loads of tea lights everywhere, and it got really hot. Believe it or not, just from lots of tea lights.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's awesome. Yeah, because he's a talented director. I give him that.
great. He's great.
Yeah, because I starred in a film of his back in 2019.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he did one called Annette.
Yeah, I didn't know you were in that.
I wasn't in that one. I was in the sequel.
The sequel.
Yeah, it's called Shot.
I haven't seen that.
It's on Vimeo, so you can watch both Annette and Called Shot
I'll
on there.
watch that. I'll watch
Yeah, I'm in that. I'm just basically playing what I am in real life, a metalhead.
that.
I set the character's a bit of a dickhead, and thinks he's like this barbarian sort of character because you got to put on like some sort of barbarian voice.
Oh, right.
And
Sounds
then, but watch the film. It's really good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. You can say it's crap, but I enjoyed it. Durs is a great.
I love his show as well. You know, the Danger Zone, and
Oh yeah, I've been to a few of those, like the club nights.
yeah, we haven't been to them, but we listened to the radio. You know, the internet radio show, and we'd always put in requests, and that was another good thing during lockdown because every Friday we'd listen to that, and
Yeah,
it was like,
I think I really do it from the studio, or he just stay at home and he does it on his own. I don't know.
I think he did it at home. He must have done it at home, I suppose. But it was great. I've been sort of nagging him a bit to restart it, but I didn't.
Yeah, he should really.
It was great. It was a brilliant show. I mean, and he's so professional. He's like,
Oh yeah, very professional.
he's more professional than a lot of the DJs that they have on like Planet Rock and stuff like that. You know, he's really good.
Yeah, definitely. If I had my own radio station, I'll definitely have him as a host because he's very professional. And I was going to say about the song, and so it comes to an end because I heard it on here. It's just guitars, but when I watch the video, I hear keyboards.
That's correct, mate. Well, basically, what it was, we did that album, and then sort of shortly after that, my friend Simon Bibby, that was in Seventh Angel with me way back. It's a bit of a long story. I don't know whether you want me to go into it all, but nutshell.
Got time?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'd have to go back to like the 80s, really, late 80s. Me and Simon met.
I wasn't alive then.
No.
Just to let you.
But anyway, me and Simon met, and he learnt bass to play in Seventh Angel back in the day, and you know, I think we'd done one demo before that, and then sort of we did another demo. I think it was 1990, maybe. No, I think it was still 89. We did another demo, and we did it with him, and he picked up bass so quickly, it was insane. Well, from when he joined My Silent Wake, he joined as a keyboard player, but he didn't play keyboards, so he just picked up keyboards to play in the band, which was absolutely amazing. So, and not long after this, we did the video for And So It Comes to an End. Well, obviously, you know, the track on the album didn't have keys, so we did a new version with keys. And actually, on this version of Damnatio, you get the extra. Oh, you can see that you get the extra tracks, and you get the one with keys.
Yeah, I don't have that.
So yeah, so that's the version.
I need that version.
That's the version on the video, basically. So that
Okay.
explains that.
Yeah, I was just like, because I like the version on this one, but I also like that one because I love the keys. Because when it gets in that,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's very
it's like
effective.
it's like okay, and then I'm now thinking about it. Like, okay, I can see why people are comparing to My Dying Bride because they're all keyboards in that band.
Yeah, yeah. We haven't used violin yet.
You haven't used violin yet.
Oh, we have, but not on any metal. Yeah, it's been on the folky stuff. Yeah.
So if you did violin in My Silent Way, you say, "Oh my god, I go in My Dying Bride," like, leave
Yeah,
them
we never
alone,
even down to it.
leave them. It's one of their favorite bands. Leave them alone. It's one of Mike's favorite bands.
Another favourite band of mine is Hawkwind. We have
Hawkwind, yeah. Um,
they're
Lemmy's
very,
band before Motorhead.
yeah, we one track we got which is on this album, which is very inspired by them, which is Journey's End, the last track. There's also a video to that as well. So, watch that.
That's
I
awesome.
don't know why I said that. It's got nothing to do with what we were
No,
saying.
well, like when you can mention all sorts of bands on there. You mentioned Hawkwind, which is great to mention. Motorhead, I just mentioned Motorhead.
Got
Uh,
loads
Lemmy, of course, no longer with us.
I know. I
Been dead
know.
for what 6 years almost.
Mm,
What 5 years?
another, Typo, they're another band I absolutely love, and Peter Steele hasn't been with us for a long
Oh,
time.
Peter still, yeah, he's been dead for
A
what?
long time.
Yeah, because he died in 2010, and then 2020 was obviously 10 years since he passed, and now it's 2021.
Yeah.
Be 11 years.
11.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Dio we lost in 2010 as well.
Awful.
We've lost too many awesome musicians.
I know. Well, the thing is, the reason is that, you don't forget that before sort of late 60s, we didn't have metal, did we?
No, you
Uh,
had more
you know,
rock,
you
blues
had some,
rock.
I mean, The Who, another band I love, The Who were doing rock, obviously, sort of mid 60s ish. Rolling Stones and bands like that. Got the Beatles. But yeah, I suppose metal started. Well, there's debates about how it started, but I mean, to me, like bands like Led Zeppelin were sort of definitely a forerunner. And when you think that was only sort of late 60s, I mean, I was born 69. So it's all quite recent, isn't it?
Mm.
And, a lot of it's amazing, although you say a lot of people have died, which I agree, they have, but also a lot of people are still alive. I mean, look at
Yeah.
the whole of Sabbath.
Yep.
I'm not talking DOUs, I'm talking the original Sabbath lineup.
Ozzy, Iommi, Geezer.
Bill Ward, they're all still
They're
alive,
all still alive. Yeah.
which is amazing, really. And they were one of the first, like what we call like absolute like heavy metal bands,
Mm.
uh, and they're all still alive. So it's all quite recent. So unfortunately, though, they're all sort of reaching the people who started it all are reaching the age now where they are going to be dropping like flies, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the sad truth. But because
Mm.
if you look at Ozzy's life and how he's in one of the biggest bands ever. They're no longer going, but still big band.
Yeah,
And obviously, what comes with touring? Obviously, you get all the drinking, which obviously you like to drink, but if you drink too much, then you just well, I mean, drinking's good, but not all the time.
yeah,
And also, there's the drugs. And Ozzy took a lot of drugs, and I'm surprised those didn't kill him.
yeah. Well, it's amazing. Yeah,
It's like
amazing.
he's telling all the drugs he's taken over the years, and I'm saying this because he is a great singer in my opinion.
Yeah,
He's saying a big fuck you to the drugs that almost killed him.
yeah, yeah. Some people seem to be able to get away with it, and others don't, do they? So
Yeah, because
let's anything really. It's like smoking. You know,
Yeah.
some people smoke all their life and they don't get cancer, but other people get it really young. So
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah,
But with Ozzy is like, because I think someone posted something like Newswise that he got Parkinson's or something. I think,
yeah, that's
which
what
is
I heard.
just upsetting to hear because it's like, what?
You think about it, right? 20 years from now, all our sort of heroes in music will be gone. You know, they'll probably all be gone in 20 years' time, and
Well,
it'll be like, wow, you know, we lived while they were still alive. You know, it's quite something really to think about.
yeah, because
You know, we
it's
were
getting
able
a
to
bit upsetting.
we were able to watch most of these bands, you know, that we
Yeah.
wanted to see. I mean, we saw, as I said, I'm a massive Zeppelin fan, and we saw Robert Plant playing Carmarthen. Actually, he played with a folky sort of bluegrass uh, band he got together called Saving Grace, and
Yeah, I think someone talked about that, not on here, but like like before COVID. Say, I think someone said, "Oh, Robert Plant does this." Like, oh, cool.
yeah, he's amazing though, and he was incredible. He was so good, and it was just weird to like, you know, see someone that you've been listening to all your life and just see them. And it's not a massive venue or anything like that. It's like it was the Lyric Theatre in Carmarthen.
Oh,
You know, it was amazing just to see him perform somewhere like that and think of his history.
yeah. You're
You know,
like, wait,
it's
he's doing
brilliant.
this, and people are like, but I remember seeing him with Zeppelin back in like '69 or something. It's like, I know. Look, yeah. Well, his taste changed over the years, so
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, he still does good rock as well. I mean, you know, more recently he's done stuff like the album he did with Jimmy Page as well, really good.
Jimmy Page.
That one was
Another amazing musician, in my opinion. Not everyone's got to have the same opinion, but that's my
absolutely
opinion. That's my opinion.
real influence for me.
Yeah, he's
Him and Naomi, I suppose, and
Tony Iommi.
yeah. But I also love The Edge. He's another influence. I absolutely love his guitar work. So, you know, I've always been sort of influenced by like proper brilliant rock guitarists, like, you know, uh, the ones I've mentioned and Richard Blackmore, people like that. But then also like more experimental guitarists I've always enjoyed as well. Mm.
Yeah, there's so many great guitar players out there. I mean, I mentioned him earlier, Devin Townsend. He's amazing.
Not really listened to much of his music.
I mean, if you want to, you don't have to take my recommendation, but
Yeah.
definitely check out Devin Townsend. He's written a lot of great music over the years, not
Okay.
just as under Devin Townsend or Devin Townsend project or band or Strappy Young Lad. Even before that, he was with Steve Vai.
Oh yeah.
He was doing vocals for his band,
Is it?
and he's been in other projects as well. Good old Devin Townsend,
Yeah.
which my profile picture is with me and is of me with Devin in Cardiff in 2019.
Nice.
He's a lovely man. I gave him a big hug after that photo.
Oh, excellent. It's lovely when you meet one of your heroes and they're nice. You know, it's horrible when they're, you know, when they're a real shit or something.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention any of them that I've met, but some of them have been like, yeah, like, okay,
There's no need for that.
that's fine. You can be a shit.
Yeah.
You can be a complete dickhead, but I'm not going to name him. But
No,
they're out there. But forget that they're a dickhead and just focus on their music.
yeah, exactly. You have to sometimes, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I've met well, I showed this t-shirt earlier.
Oh yeah, nice Brummy band. Yeah, Brummy's band.
Brummy band.
Yeah.
Well, because David Ingram, it's his birthday today.
Oh, I see.
I was gonna wear it anyway because I thought I need to wear it at some point, and it's the 30th anniversary T-shirt of this album, Subconscious Terror, which had Barney from Napalm Death on,
Yeah,
because he
yeah,
was
yeah.
in this band before Napalm Death.
Right. I remember seeing him introduce Trouble in London at the Underworld because he was a big fan of Trouble. Barney.
Nice.
Yeah, and he introduced them, which I thought was brilliant. And but he always seems dead sound to me.
Yeah, I met him once, and that was 2011 at the Fleece.
Yeah.
And my mate's band, Merciless Precision, were one of the opening bands for him.
Oh, excellent.
Well, the band I saw that was opening for him was Human Coal. More grindcore from Exeter. Trying to remember who else was playing that gig as well. It's 2011. I should remember that far back. It was 10 years ago, nearly.
A long time ago.
I know my head hurts.
Yeah.
Either my head hurts because I'm thinking too much, or it hurts because I got a headache. But there you go.
Yeah. Oh dear. I know what that's like. Yeah.
Well, I've been okay today. I've had. Well, I was going to say I've had fluid today, coffee and Pepsi Max. No, I need water.
I've had some beer and now I'm on the water.
Well, I might have a shot of rum for good old Master Ingram, as I've been calling him now.
Right.
Have a shot of rum for him later.
Yeah.
What was we going to talk about? Oh yeah, I was going to, because you mentioned your other band, Seven Angels.
Seventh Angel, yeah, mate.
That band is still going now, 2009 to present, because
it is still
you formed in 87, then you split up in 93 for a while.
Yeah, we got back together and we did. I mean, this was our first album from 1990. I think that was released, and then
The Torment.
Yeah, and then we did Lament for the Weary, which was that
1st of December
album. That's better. Rodney Matthews did the covers as well, so that was good. And then we split up for years and years and years, and then we did this one. Bloody hell, 12 years ago now. Believe it or not, that was 12 years ago. Yeah, so we got that was Matt Vickerstaff did the cover for that. He does like the Drownings covers and
Mike mentioned him. Yeah,
some of our covers with my Sonic Wake as well.
Yeah.
So that was the band I started with way back in the 80s.
1987.
Yeah, ridiculously. But we didn't do any gigs at that point. We just started practicing. I mean, I could hardly play. I'd only been playing for about a year at that point. So
it's all right.
But
you're still learning at that point.
Yeah, I'm still learning now. But yeah, we did our first one. Yeah, we did a first demo in 1989, and we were playing. To our mind, we were playing traditional heavy metal. But then we got a review. Do you remember Metal? You wouldn't remember Metal Forces magazine, would you?
I looked it up when I was just doing research on metal and stuff.
Yeah, it was a good magazine. I mean, it was in Smiths. You got Kerrang, you got Metal Forces, you got Metal Hammer, and you got stuff like Sounds and that for a broader sort of spectrum. But I think there was another one as well. But anyway, we got a demo review in Metal Forces, and it classed us as a thrash band, really. And although we did have some thrash influence, to our mind, we were more traditional metal. But I think from that, we sort of realised, we sort of were going in a kind of thrash direction, and from then onwards, it went a bit thrashier, you know. But it was a positive review for a demo that was like done by kids, really, you know. And it wasn't. It was imaginative. It wasn't well done or anything, but it was a start, you know.
It was a start.
So that band went. Initially, we went till about, I think it was maybe 92, 93.
Yeah, 93. It says on. Going back to Metal Archive because the band's on there.
Yeah, we did quite a bit in that time, and we did those two albums, and they were distributed by Music for Nations, so that was good. So they got in the shops and everything. And they were like obviously on vinyl at the time and CD as well.
Mm.
And we sort of we were on TV a couple of times, so it was like for a short time there was loads happening, and then we split up foolishly. I think we split up, and then that's when I started doing Doom. Although with Seventh Angel we were very Doom influenced. As I say, Trouble, Sabbath, Candlemass, they were always a big influence. I sort of started a death doom band, which was Ashen Mortality, and that started in '93. And sometimes people sort of say with like My Silent Wake, oh, they sound a bit like '90s doom. Well, the reason for that is that I started playing doom around that time, and the band that became My Silent Wake, it sort of morphed from Ashen Mortality. So there's people don't realise that. So it's got a much longer history than people think. So around that time, obviously, Paradise Lost, My Dying Bride, and Anathema, you got all that was coming out.
Of course, Anathema.
Yeah, and so they were big as well. But that band went for about 11 years, and then, as I say, became My Silent Way. I've done other bits and pieces as well in between, bits and pieces. Or alongside. I've done a few bands at once quite a few times. But they've always been quite obscure. They've never sold many like
the obscure stuff is much better than what some other like albums that come out. I think the more obscure stuff's a lot better.
Yeah, it can be, mate.
But I also like a lot of the newer stuff from a lot of the bigger bands that they bring out as well.
Yeah.
But I love the more obscure underground bands.
Always have done. We also, I was in a space rock band as well for 2 albums the other week. So yeah, that was another thing. But I've done quite a few bits and bobs. I went to Australia and did an album. With Paramecium. So it's been interesting. It's been great.
You've had an interesting music career.
I have, and you get to see a lot of countries. That's the great thing as well. You get to, I wouldn't have been out of this country so many times if it hadn't been for doing gigs.
Yeah, because I was going to say about Seventh Angel, I was looking at the genre because it always tells you what the genre is.
Yeah.
It says thrash doom, which I'm trying to picture at the moment.
Yeah, well, that is fairly accurate, I would say.
Because I've heard death doom and black doom, but not thrash doom.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not that far away from like death. I mean, the last one we did, that one is probably more death doom, I would say.
Yeah, because you went to melodic death doom later.
Yeah. It's got fresh influences, but because on the early stuff, I wasn't like growling most of the time. I was singing rather than growling, well, shouting or whatever you want to call it.
I'll have a listen later.
But yeah, that was basically. It wasn't death really, although it had influences from death metal, obviously. It wasn't out and out death. It was thrash, but it wasn't fast all the time. It was like slow bits. So I suppose it's like bands like. I suppose you had bands like Winter at the start of Death Doom and
Winter.
Yeah, they slowed it down. It was death metal slowed down, so I suppose we were like thrash metal slowed down, if you like.
I'll have a listen to the first album.
Well, Jake, I'd say listen to that one to start with.
The second one.
Yeah, it's that second album, but definitely I think it's the first one was raw and it was good for that. But some of the lyrics I'm a bit embarrassed about.
As you would be, but yeah, because that band started in the late 80s. Did you support any of the bigger bands back then, or not really? Like the big bands at the time that might be still going now.
I think really it was. I don't think we did. No, I don't think we did. We did. Do you remember Tornado? Do you remember them British thrash band?
can't say I can't say I do, but
good actually. We should check them out. Well, we did a tour with them. They were on a really big label at one point. They were. Oh, it was like EMI or someone. I don't know.
You're gonna have to link me them.
Yeah, Torrenaga. We did a tour with them. And I think that was through Music for Nations, from what I remember. But that was good. That was entertaining. In fact, one of the gigs, we were meant to play Liverpool, and our minibus broke down, so we couldn't get to the gig.
Oh damn!
Yeah, and years later, I went to see Anathema in Coventry, and it was when they still had Darren on vocals. And I was chatting to him, and he said, and he remembered that gig Anathema played. So Anathema would have supported us and Torrenaga at that gig.
Oh nice.
But unfortunately, we didn't get to it because we broke down. So
that sucks. And well, yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Because when Herbert Solo did our first gig in 2019, well, technically we did two. One was at a mate's birthday party.
Yeah.
It was a 30th. Good old Millie, or Madam Beryl of BTK, Basement Torture Killings.
Oh.
It was a 30th, and it was Ollie, who's the bassist of. Do you know a band called Warrior Pope?
No.
It's more on the Drone Doom, but he plays bass in Herbert Solo, and they had they were just playing music, and there was always like a party happening just maybe 10 feet away from us.
Mm.
And then the woman from there was like saying, "Excuse me, could you turn it down?" And there's Ollie just like on his bass, like, and I was just like, "Well, we don't want to listen to your shit." So I didn't actually say that to her. I was just like thinking, well. Then I was like, "Oh, I'll do some vocals," because Leon, the guitarist, is like, "Oh, who wants to do vocals?" I'll do some vocals. Oh, he did. And that's how I joined the band and did. You can say it was an unofficial show, but still a show. And then,
Brilliant.
and then our show at the Griffin was October, and we had the band Doomicidal from Bath.
Good band, yeah.
I thought we were going to be opening for them, but no, they opened for us. And we weren't even a big band, and then we had like a crowd of people who I think were only there to see me because they've seen me at gigs and stuff and supporting their bands or whatever. And people were like, "Oh, is Jake in a band? Let's go watch his band." Or me is like, "Well, watch the entire band, not just me." Or not much to look at. But I'm not that good looking. I'm okay.
Maybe I don't say that. That's not true.
I'm all white for a long-haired bearded man.
Right. We had some funny experiences with like being switched off. We did a gig in Aberystwyth. We got switched off because the bloke came out with a decibel meter, and he said he took it out basically. But we'd already started, so it was like, well, what do we do at this point? So we kept playing, and then they switched us off, so we had to turn everything down and start again. But that was a gig with Tor Marek. Do you remember Tor Marek at all? I think maybe with the Drowning. I'm not sure. But yeah, Tor Marek, a Welsh band. They were.
I might know them. I don't know.
Yeah, good band. We did a few with them. But yeah, it's tricky sometimes if you play in places where people aren't expecting it.
Yeah, that's true.
Be so extreme.
Yeah, well, that happens, doesn't it? And well, because I asked you about your first band, now my signing week. What bands have you been on tour with? What bands have you supported, or just your overall shows that you've done?
Asher Mortality, we supported some interesting bands like At the Gates.
Nice.
We played. Do you remember Acrimony? Stoner band Acrimony.
Rings a bell.
Oh, shocking. But yeah, we played with them. We played with a few bands.
Yeah, did you say At the Gates earlier?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah. That was good. That was in Birmingham. That was. That's. Oh, I can't remember the name of the venue now. But yeah, that was good. But yeah, we've My Silent Wait. We've played with a few like Draconian. Um, who else have we played with? Oh, the Vision Bleak. That was good. Excellent. Gig that was. Yeah, there's a few. We've never done anything with the like the really big thing bands, I suppose. But, you know, we've sort of we've remained underground.
Yeah,
Were
I
you
mean any
talking without
band.
moving your mouth?
What's that?
Were you talking without moving your mouth?
Me? No,
I can hear something, but
it might have been me. But
ghost on
yeah,
the recording.
there's a ghost in the house.
There's a ghost in there.
There's a ghost. I mean, you didn't support any of the big bands. Which bands would you like to support? You said you supported At the Gates in one of the other bands,
Yeah,
but would you like to have
I,
supported
I,
My Dying Bride back in the day?
yeah, I think. Yeah, in the early days, I'd love to have done. I suppose nowadays I don't sort of worry about it too much.
No,
I
like,
didn't, if the song support my own bride, I'd probably still be like a bit like, oh wow, but I don't know, it's
what?
just nice to have that, I suppose. Yeah, I've kind of got. I don't really have massive sort of ambitions anymore. You kind of, I suppose, as you get older, you get more realistic, don't you?
Yeah,
So you don't, yeah, you don't have so much in the way of ambition, but you still do music because you love it, even though
yeah,
sometimes you sort of think, well, is anyone actually listening to this anymore? It's a little bit like that. And obviously gigs, because you don't have any kind of crew or anything, gigs get harder as you get older.
mm,
Um, so yeah, I was finding that. I mean, obviously I haven't done any for just over a year now, but I was finding that was getting more of a struggle. Even though I still enjoyed it. I probably always enjoy it. But I suppose you have to be kind of realistic as well at the same time.
well, yeah, because you can't just think it's all. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be supporting these bands. Like, actually, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes for that to happen first. But
Very true.
I mean, just take
Yeah,
whatever you can get. Just take whatever
yeah.
you can get.
But yeah, I mean, we did do that for a while, but then I think we kind of got a bit more sort of fussy as to what we do because of the effort involved, I suppose. And I think now because I live far away, our keyboardist plays he's a long way away, and because we're all sort of in different places. For us to do a gig now, it would be a big sort of undertaking. Obviously we'd have to practice, we'd have to, we'll get together. It's a lot of fuel involved, so it's like, it's not. I think we turned one down. We were going to do one in this to come in December, but because we don't know where we're going to be at that point, we sort of turned it down, and we sort of thought,
I don't
well,
know.
we're going to concentrate on recording at this point because you just don't know
Well,
what's going to
yeah,
happen.
because if you've got a new album on the way, you might as well continue with that and then see where you are from
Yeah,
there. Not
we've
just
got the songs. We've
yeah,
got the songs all together, really. Um, but
yeah, just
yeah, I
focus on it.
don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I think as you get older, you get more realistic, um, and you just do it for your own enjoyment, really. And there are some people that really enjoy it, obviously, but it's never going to be like a massive band or anything like that. And
No,
I
no,
don't want to, I like the independence, and it's okay. Some people can keep playing till they're like in their 70s, even 80s. Some people, I saw Martin Carthy, brilliant folk musician. I saw him play in Wales, and I think he was about 80 when we saw him, 81, 82 maybe. He was there on his own with the guitar, playing, singing absolutely perfectly. I'm thinking, this guy's in his 80s. How on earth do you do that? And then you get bands like metal bands where the members are sort of pushing 70, 60. But I don't think those bands would be able to play if they didn't have the metal bands. Wouldn't be able to play if they didn't have a big crew behind them. They couldn't do it all. So I suppose for a band like us, you kind of have to think. I think who was it? I saw Nuclear Assault at Bloodstock, and I think they were
I saw
called.
that.
Yeah, it was great. It was really raw. It was brilliant. But I think they were calling it a day because of age and that kind of thing. So it is a factor. You've got to think about it.
Yeah, there is that. I did see him in Sweden in 2019 at Scandinavia Death Fest.
Oh.
And while the vocalist of Nuclear Assault was taking a break tuning or something, Dan Loker and the other guys, because Nick Barker was playing the drums.
Yeah.
And he's been in countless bloody bands. And they were playing a song from Brutal Truth from their first album. I think it was Birth of Ignorance or something. I think it was that song. But no, that was great. Because I've only seen Brutal Truth once, and that was 2014 at Temples Fest.
Oh, right. Never got to that.
Well, that's the only time I saw Brutal Truth, because they were splitting up after that tour. Yeah, let's get on to your other projects before I forget, because I'm going to forget. We just covered My Silent Wake, your very first bands and everything. You spoke about them. Let's talk about Guillotine Dream.
Guillotine Dream. Right, okay. Well, Mark, as I say, Mark had been in Seventh Angel for a while.
Yeah.
Me and Mark, we'd sort of, I think we went to Stafford. We saw my mum, and we were just like chilling out. And we were walking down the street, and we saw this music shop, and we went in there, and there was a drum, like an electric drum kit in the window, and they got an amp and that, and they were happy for us to jam in the window of this music shop. And yeah, it was great. It was great fun. And me and Mark just started jamming around, and then we finished, and the staff were like clapping us, and it was just funny. It was a fun thing, and we said, we should start a goth band, definitely, because we're both massive like goth fans. Me and Mark. I'm not talking like gothic metal, like some of the more weedier gothic metal. I'm talking like proper, like Fields of the Nephilim, Bauhaus, all the good goth, Sisters, people like that. And we both like massive fans of that, and so we started the Dream, and we also had Adam joined us on bass as well, and he likes Fields of the Nephilim a lot, so it was like we all had a like mind really with what we were doing. And we sort of span a load of crap just for the fun of it. We sort of said we'd been going from the 80s. And, we just made up a whole backstory, even though we only started in 2016. So, so we made up a backstory just for fun. And we said we were from St. Helier in Jersey as well. That was just totally random. But people still all the rubbish that we sort of made up about the band, people still quote. And we were on Durs's show, actually. We went on there and just spoke a load of crap. And we were doing this for a while. And then we just sort of, and we were wearing the masks and that. And then in the end, we just sort of thought, we might as well come clean and just, tell it like it is. So we did. And then, we literally did it for fun. We didn't do it to try and deceive anyone, because that's not what we like. But we just did it, for the sort of comedy aspect of it. And I think you'd see that. You've seen our videos. You can see there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek sort of things going on there.
Yeah.
Like bands like Typo, where they're serious. They were serious about the music, but there was a lot of humour in there as well. So I suppose we sort of wanted it to be like that. But obviously, with any band, as you go on, you sort of, I suppose, you get more serious about it. I suppose we have with Guillotine Dream, really. It was never just a joke, but it was always, very sort of, we had a certain tongue-in-cheek kind of element. But we've done 2 albums now. We've done 2 EPs, 2 albums, and we're now working on the 3rd album. And it's just been fun. We've just really enjoyed it. We haven't sort of spent hours writing songs. We've just jammed and recorded it on a phone, and then we're going to the studio half prepared and improvise stuff. Both albums have got a song that we wrote on the day in the studio. So it's been very much doing it for the fun of it and not taking it too seriously, I suppose.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing that. And yeah, as I say, we're working on the 3rd album now. The 2nd album we recorded in Weston just before lockdown, so just had a couple of days in the studio, and then the bloke mixed it for us, Charlie at 1310 mixed it for us. Adam did his bass at home.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you mentioned Adam because he's also in My Silent Wake, so it made sense for you to bring him in, I guess.
Yes, we're all involved in My Silent Wake as well. And obviously some of My Silent Wake, we did a song called The Last Man, which was very goth influenced, probably more obviously than anything else we did. Another song got a video as well on YouTube. And that was Mark playing on that. It wasn't Adam on that track with My Silent Wake because he hadn't joined the band at that point. But yeah, so we were all involved, and at one point Mark and Adam were in the band at the same time in My Silent Wake as well. But that lineup didn't last too long because Mark left. But me and Mark we were still friends, and we sort of then, as I say, had the idea to start Guillotine Dream.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, because I was listening to it before doing this, and I was like, yeah, this is very folky, and it sounds a bit rocky in a way.
Yeah, well, there's always going to be that influence, definitely. But a lot of goth bands were influenced by Zeppelin, like The Mission. Like, I'm sure they had some Zeppelin influence. The Cult definitely did. You can hear that kind of thing going on. In fact, The Mission had John Paul Jones produce one of their albums. So I think there's been that link, to that, and obviously Zeppelin had a big folk influence.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of Zeppelin stuff's very folky. I mean, one of my favourite tracks, obviously, I love the Immigrant Song. That's a great one. A whole lot of love.
Who doesn't?
Stairway to Heaven being the most famous.
It's still brilliant, yeah. Even though it's popular, it's still amazing.
I love Stairway to Heaven. First, it just starts off with guitars and vocals, and all of a sudden you get John Bonham with his drums coming in, and it's
fantastic. You can't beat it, really.
Can't beat it, really. And his drum solo on Moby Dick is ridiculous.
I know.
Get it?
I
said Moby Dick is ridiculous.
It's brilliant. One of my favourites is When the Levee Breaks. We've got that massive drum set on that, which was apparently recorded with 2 mics, I think. It's been sampled so many times, that drum sound. But it's just a massive song. I never get to it. Apparently they recorded it and slowed it down, and then Robert Plant did the vocals.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, so it's got like a real sort of, it's a bit sludgy kind of sound to it. It's brilliant.
It's sludge before sludge metal.
Yeah.
And I was going to mention that song. There's Black Dog.
What's that, mate?
Black Dog. No other song.
Brilliant. That whole album, from that and Tubular Bells, I think, are my favourite albums. So Zeppelin 4 and Tubular Bells, they'd be my. If I had to choose 2 albums and that's all I could ever listen to again. That'd be them two.
Yeah, because Led Zeppelin's got influence on a lot of bands, even if it's just a heavy metal band, maybe even some thrash or death metal bands got something from them.
There was something about chemistry there that was incredible, and it was like everyone in the band was amazing.
Mm.
Not they weren't like just showing off in a way. They were gelling, properly, which you don't get so much these days. And they could also write blinding songs, even though some of them were quite, there were bits in their songs that were maybe traditional or whatever that they sort of incorporated into their songs.
Yeah. Well, just you can get influences from basically anywhere. Really.
Yeah.
My influences lie in death metal, doom metal, folk music.
Yeah.
Mainly in metal and folk. To be fair, not anywhere else. To be honest, and I get influences for my metal bands or my folk projects or just whatever really. So if something pops into my head for a frame drum part, I just record it, send it over to my mate Alex, and he'll probably fit in somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Do you like folk rock at all?
I've heard some folk rock. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember who I've actually heard. Like
football convention, Steel Ice Band, that sort of thing. They're well worth checking out.
Yeah. There's so many bands I've got to check out. There's one from Iceland that I checked out. I'm trying to remember the bloody name. It'll probably come to me later after this, and I'll be like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, because in the 70s, a lot of good folk rock sort of crossover in the 70s. Late 60s as well. Because there was a singer talking about Zeppelin. The Battle of Evermore, which is like a real sort of folk song. Again on Zeppelin 4, that had the only sort of singer that ever guested on Zeppelin albums was Sandy Denny, who was in Verbal Convention, and she had an amazing voice. She died, unfortunately. She had an accident and died, but she did stuff with Fairport, with the Straubs, and like Fothering Gay, various things, and well worth checking.
I'll give that a listen to that because I like songs with strong vocals, even if it's from a male or a female. I love it.
Well, I don't think you'll hear stronger female folk vocals than Sandy Denny, to be honest.
I'll give it a listen after this. All right, I got too many things to listen to. I got Wardruna's new album, Seventh Angel, more Guillotine Dream, and now this track.
Don't forget, just listen to some folk rock. Listen to Sandy Denny and Fairport.
Forget everything else. Just listen to that. Yeah, forget it. Oh, sorry, taking the back seat. No, no, I'll probably get Wardruna on first, and then I'll get onto that because I need to get some Wardruna. And speaking of Wardruna, Einar used to be the drummer in Golgoroth.
Who did, sorry?
The main guy for Wardruna, Einar. Mm-hmm. He used to play drums for Golgoroth.
Yeah, I knew there was a black metal link there, but
because he's friends with Gull from used to be in Golgoroth. He's not anymore.
Yeah,
he's friends with him and everything. So, and Gull's appeared on some Wardruna albums.
Yeah.
I actually got one of them that Gull's on.
I think I've seen some footage on YouTube, but I haven't got any of their albums.
I highly recommend Wardruna.
Yeah.
I know it's not a metal band, but I mentioned him because I know I used to be in a metal band.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because you've got there's a member of Winter Philith. Is it
Winter Philith.
Yeah, because they've got a member who's a member of them, Dan Cap, I think his name is. He does that Instrument, which is folk as well.
Cool.
That's a British folk project.
I love folk from here in England, obviously, Sweden,
Yeah.
Finland, Norway, wherever it is, I'm gonna love it.
Well, that was we did a track on this, which is a Cold Spring folk compilation. But it's a very old track, unfortunately, but it's still good to have it on there. That's got some interesting stuff on there.
Yeah, I'll have a listen to that then. Because I also watched a stream from an album that was recorded back in like 2006 or something,
Yeah.
called the Green Album.
Who was that by?
It was all different bands on there. Dave the Bard appeared on it.
Who did?
Dave the Bard.
I haven't heard.
It's just one guy. He's done a lot of he's done a lot of albums. He's a great musician. He's been doing a lot of live stream shows here on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he uploads them to YouTube. Brilliant. I'll send you some stuff. And then I checked out an Australian folk band called Spiral Dance.
I've not heard of them.
I didn't know of them until I checked them out, and the song they played on there was called Spirit of the Green.
Oh.
Which I've been trying to find on their other albums, but it's not on any of the albums they've released. It's only on that.
Yeah. Oh,
I
cool.
was listening to it, and it was just showing like the outbacks of Australia and
Oh, Sarah,
the gigs that they've done.
no, you don't. Come and say hello. Yeah, it sounds interesting, mate. So I'm trying to persuade Sarah to come and say hello. She's like a hobo, but she doesn't.
Okay. Hello.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. How have you been?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Just working from home. Very unexciting.
Well, yeah. If you can't go to the office, Work from home.
Exactly.
Just talking folk here.
Oh yeah.
Folk and metal and anything else.
Well, she's got brilliant taste in music.
Okay.
Who's your favourite band?
Judas Priest, for sure.
Yes. I love Judas Priest.
You love Zeppelin and well, I've talked enough. I'm not sure. Need some more stout.
Well, we haven't got any more beer left.
Oh,
It's a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye, Steph.
Well, had a
yeah. So yeah, about folk and that. Yeah. See, a lot of metalheads should check out some folk because
definitely.
it's like extreme lyrics. Look no further than folk because it was like really sort of written about some pretty dire things. It's pretty gritty when you look at the lyrics of folk. It's well, obviously it was written by people that obviously had to suffer a lot of crap, back in the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it was it's a brilliant style of music, and
Yeah,
it's not and stuff. Some of it's really mournful as well,
Yeah, I love folk music. It can be the most bounciest of folk, or it can be very atmospheric, like Juna, Highland, and Danheim.
Yeah, exactly. Folk, sometimes it sounds happy, the music. You look at the lyrics, and you're like, oh, fucking hell. That's pretty extreme, Some of it really is.
It's just like, the music can sound sad, but it's happy lyrics.
Yeah, or the other way around.
Like, what? So, happy music means sad lyrics. Sad music means happy lyrics. It's a bit weird. It's a bit confusing, but
yeah, I like stuff like krautrock, experimental stuff as well. I like that. I like psychedelic music, I suppose. Whatever, there's a few bands I've discovered lately, in the last few years, like Blue Angel Lounge. They're a brilliant band. They're sort of quite psychedelic, a little bit, a real sort of gothy kind of feel to them as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, a German band. In fact, most bands that come out of Germany are brilliant. I think Imperium.
Yeah, well, one of my favourite
Yeah,
German bands
uh,
is Ram. It's always going to be Rammstein. I love Rammstein.
love Rammstein. Yeah, we were listening to them the other day actually, because I remember when Sonic came out, and I was working on the buses at the time, and I was in one of my breaks and watching the TV, like Kerrang TV, and it's like, wow, this is really good. This is like so much better than most of the modern crap.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it was such a well written song, and it had a bit of everything. The video was brilliant, and again, a bit of humour injected into it. Um, I was well impressed with that. It's
yeah,
that album, the album is just brilliant. There's not a crap song on it.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of great music out there, and obviously, like you said about folk music, a lot more metalheads should listen to folk music because, like I said, they like a lot of extreme stuff. I
Yeah,
mean, you get. I mean, folk not well. Folk metal's amazing. Folk music's not all. It's not nothing's extra. There's no extreme stuff in it, but the lyric content can be very
very extreme. Yeah,
heavy. It can be
yeah,
very heavy stuff in it. So,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
like Waldruna, I know I've mentioned them already. I'm going to keep mentioning them. I know they're a folk band, but the music itself, like some of the songs, are quite heavy anyway.
Yeah,
Like with the frame drums and some
yeah,
vocals and that in it is heavy anyway.
yeah.
So definitely worth your time.
A band I enjoyed at Bloodstock was Batushka, but apparently there's a lot of
Oh, Patushka, yeah.
there's a lot of sort of controversy with them. But whatever, I don't care about that. It was a great performance. It was brilliant stuff. Um,
So I'm
good.
getting Facebook messages.
I can tell, yes, pulling you all over the place. But
And just turn off my Facebook so I don't get that Dylan, shut up.
yeah,
But well, we covered Guillotine Dream and your very
yeah,
wide taste in music. Now let's talk
yes.
about your solo stuff under your own name.
Oh, right, okay, mate. Well, yeah, I've got my album. Here.
It's just called One.
Yes, it's my first solo album.
It's
It's
like
probably I've
one.
probably done about 25 albums, but this is my first solo one. And it was, as I say, it was recorded here on this table, mainly using acoustic stuff, like
Mm.
just messing with sounds, Audacity, um, and fact, lots of sounds and field recordings. There's lots of like recordings of machinery, like railway machinery and stuff like that, which is incorporated in it. And even some old recordings that I had from Seventh Angel, which are not Seventh Angel, from My Sonic Mate, which are manipulated the guitar, sort of reversed it and done goodness knows what with it. So yeah, it's quite experimental, mainly instrumental as well. There's all sorts of stuff really on it. It sort of starts with songs with percussion and that, and sort of gets more and more, goes through quite a weird phase, and then it sort of ends on a very peaceful sort of phase. So it's good for putting on when you want to go to sleep. Basically.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a listen.
Yeah, not for drive. It's not driving music.
No, it was more relaxing
Yeah,
at your desk or on your bed.
yeah. But yeah,
If
so
you
I
want
did.
driving music, put on some
What's that?
death metal. If you want some
Yeah,
driving music, put on some death metal.
yeah. But yeah, it's I recorded everything. I played it all and recorded it all myself. So
What year was that?
wrote the tune, sang the theme tune, all that
Yeah.
business.
Did you
Did the
record
art.
it this year or not
Yeah,
this year? Last year?
well, last year. Yeah,
Last year.
last year. Yeah. Yeah. Did I think there was a little bit from the year before, but it's yeah, it was a good project. It was good fun, and when I started, as I say, I did some painting as well,
Yeah.
so I've been able to incorporate that on it as well. The only thing really, I wasn't really confident in mastering, but I mixed it and everything. But the label that put it out, Opaloka, the bloke who runs that, he mastered it, and good old Adam put it together on a computer. And that's it, really.
Yeah, I don't know how to mix or master, so I'm gonna have to get someone to do that for me.
I can mix, but not. Some people wouldn't. It's quite muddy. It's quite 70s sounding the way I do it. It's not. I'm no expert, but I know how I want it to sound, and
yeah, I could probably do that with my death metal band for the demo. I can mix it the way I want it, because it's not. I don't want it to sound like a big high end top charting album or whatever, demo or whatever. Well, demos don't really sound like what albums come out as. Some demos actually do come out sounding like albums, and I'm always amazed how they actually managed to get that done. But for my death metal band, I don't mind if it sounds a little bit raw.
But because if I do a demo for people in the band here, I'll do it on my phone. I'll probably put the phone against the amp, play the guitar, and then if I need to do any vocals on it, I'll get the recording I've just done on one phone, get another phone, and record the vocals on top. So really, really raw and horrible sounding. But like Simon Bibby, like our keyboard player, he sent me a demo of the song he's done for the album, and you could listen to that and think that's an album recording, and it's just a demo for the rest of the band to hear. It's like some people are good. It's ridiculous. I've always been a bit rough and ready, really, with stuff.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm going to say it again. You've had a wide range of music, a very exciting music career. Because you said you went to Australia and did an album.
America, I did an album in America as well. Actually, I went to Seattle.
You've been everywhere.
Yeah, no, it's been good fun. But yeah, I went to Seattle, but I don't know where I put it there.
You've been to more places than me in terms of recording music.
Well, the funny thing is, I'd never been out of the country until, well, I was in my 20s. I'd never been out of the country at all. Well, I've been to Wales, and that was it. And then when Seventh Angel started, the first place I went was Ireland. That was the first time I'd been out of the country. And then we started playing in like Holland and Germany and places like that. And various other places. Yeah.
No, I'd love to.
I think Wake's first gig. So that was good.
Sorry, say that again.
With My Sonic Wake, we did our first gig in Switzerland. we did our second album before we did a gig, you see. So that was weird. Although we played together with National Mortality, we'd done 2 albums before we went out and did a gig because our drummer injured his wrist, you see. So there was a whole backstory for that as well.
Yeah, Mike told me about the time they did. I think it was the Drowning album.
Yeah.
How their drummer. Oh, why is his name escaping me? I should know his bloody name.
Steve.
That's Steve. It. I was gonna say Scott. I was gonna say my brother's name. No, Steve. Because he hurt his wrist or something, but then the old vocalist before Matt.
Yeah, that's right. Because he was saying that on here, wasn't it?
Yeah, he hurt his wrist, and the old vocalist said, "You're gonna have to take that off." So he took it off, played the drums, and he had to get re-bloody plastered.
Sounds really painful, that does.
It
was a bit different with that.
I can't do it.
Because, our drummer couldn't, he had to stop playing, basically, in the end. So that was a shame. But he did vocals with us in the end, Jason. So instead of drumming, we sort of shared lead vocals, like, especially live. We did some of it.
I mean, I couldn't if I was a drummer in a band, I hurt my wrist, and they told me, "Oh, you're gonna have to do it." It's like, well, no, you're gonna have to get someone else to fill in. Because there have been bands that have done that, and they have musicians fill in for them. Because there's one band from Florida called Resurrection. They were doing their, I think it was their debut album in Bond Existence, but their drummer couldn't do it, so they got Alex Marquez, who's one of the other biggest drummers in the death metal scene, filled in on the entire album.
Yeah.
So
you have to do that sometimes, don't you?
And even Jimmy, who was on this B side of Scum for Napalm Death, the bassist in Doom, their actual bassist couldn't do it because he hurt his wrist, so they got Jimmy to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, so if there's a member of the band who can't do it, and you're like, oh, who are we going to get? It's like, do you know anyone else? They're like, I got someone.
Well, that's it. It's like with Mike when he started playing with My Silent Wake, because Andy, our guitarist, was out of the country quite a bit. So that's why Mike got involved, you see, originally.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, I mentioned My Silent Wake, and I think I asked him how he joined you guys, but now you just. Yeah, I was going to say, how did he join?
Yeah.
And now you just
said. So, yeah, he kind of started out just helping us out, and then sort of as time went by, he was our live guitarist. You know, he didn't do any recording because I just basically record the guitar and recordings, and but yeah, he did loads of gigs with us. But I think it came to a point where I think things with the Drowning were getting more. They were definitely getting busier, you know, and a lot was going on. So eventually it came to a point where we had to sort of find another guitarist so that, you know, Mike would, have to worry about playing in two bands really. So that's when I got Dave involved, you know. He was in a few bands that you might have heard of as well, like Irony of Christ.
There's some bands I don't know.
Yeah, because again, it was quite a long time ago. Cranio.
What's that?
Cranio Sacral, I think one of the bands.
I think you're talking about bands I've never even heard of.
Yeah, I think it was like sort of around. They played around Bristol sort of area, I believe. But he's Forest.
Sorry, say that again.
He lives in Forest Dean, Dave.
Forest Dean. Because I didn't get into the metal scene until 2003.
Yeah.
And I was a little kid when you were doing all these gigs with your first band and everything else. So I'm only just learning about all this, which is great because I'm.
Yeah. So what got you into metal then originally?
Bands like Motorhead, Maiden, Priest, Sabbath, Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, bands like that, and then I got into the death metal scene with Cannibal Corpse, bands like that, and it's ruined my life. I kid, of course, but yeah, because I had a guest on here named Ken of Ken's Death Metal Crypt. So if you like your old school demos, check out his channel. What was not his channel? It's the channel, he calls it. Almost did the air quotes. And he said, "Oh, I got into metal and it ruined my life." It's like, well, I guess it kind of does because you're always spending your money on the new albums that they bring out and stuff. So in that way, it ruins your life.
Ruined it in a good way.
In a good way because you're buying. Well, I'm just going to show the CDs I got because you're buying stuff like this.
Oh well.
And well, that's a great album. I'm just saying, you're buying stuff like this, and you're like, "Oh, money's out of my bank." You see my cupboard. There's a lot of CDs. Yeah. And speaking of merch, where would people find My Silent Wake, your solo project, Guillotine Dream? I'm just thinking places like Bandcamp. Would they find them there?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So yeah, just look it up on Bandcamp and you'll find it. I think with Guillotine Dream it's a bit confusing because I think there's about 3 different Bandcamps because we were on the label for one of the albums, and so they put it out on their Bandcamp. But if you look around, you'll find the right one. Basically, I can't remember which is which. But if you get to the right one, it's got all four albums listed on there, and it's got t-shirts, it's got face masks, it's got beanies, stickers. Really cheap merch actually on the Guillotine Dream one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have a look before I put them in the description.
I'll look it up. I'll see if I can find. Not very prepared.
Yeah,
but again, yeah. So it's I've got it.
Okay, well, I've
lost it now. Hang on. Right, I've got it. Now, what's the address? Actually, what I could do is
well, you can link it and then I can put it in the description of the video.
It's amazing, isn't it? Technology. It's amazing.
Technology is great for some things, but it's a massive ball ache for other things.
Yeah, that's true though. It's good when it works. And
I just sent you a message.
So, there is 2 My Sonic Wake ones as well, because there's our one and there's one in America, which is done by a friend of ours that does like various T-shirts and like one-off T-shirts and various things like that, so you can get a lot of sorts of stuff basically.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll look at that.
Share that with you as well. And also,
me trying to find it.
You'll find mine's easy to find with my solo one because it's just just one Bandcamp page.
It says me trying to find it and then just putting it in the description when I'm writing it out. It's like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
Like bollocks.
Yeah, that the label that my solo one's on is also the label that the last My Sonic Wake one's on. Fully encourage people to listen to that one because it's very different indeed. It's it's a Demnum Persecularum.
It's a good thing you have that with you.
Is that right? So that's the latest one, and there's a lot of experimental, folky, medieval, you name it. Kind of
medieval.
Yeah. That's another type of music I'm very fond of, actually.
Oh, no, I love medieval music. You can mix it with metal; it's all good.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting all your messages. I might have clicked off. I might have closed the tab on my Facebook, but I still get the messages through. I just don't get that annoying ding sound.
Oh yeah. Welcome, mate.
So yeah, thanks for that, and also for being on Jake's Metal Chat.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much for that. And yeah, I haven't seen you in such a long time because I think the last time I saw you was at the Griffin for Hollow Fest.
Oh wow, that was a long time ago now, wasn't it?
Because speaking of the Drowning, they also played that same one, and it was just really, really hot in that room.
It's ridiculous in there. It's ridiculous.
They played 2 sets, one with the Drowning, and then with My Silent Wake when he was still in the band.
That must have been about 4 or 5 years ago, then, mate.
Yeah, that might have been it because I don't think I've seen My Silent Wake any time after that.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, amazing.
I had to look it up, like what year it was. It might have been 2015, 2016, something like that, or 2017.
It's got to have been no later than.
It might have been 2017, I think, because I had my because I got a GoPro by then.
Could have been. Yeah.
I'm just trying to go by what I got that year.
Yeah.
And how long my hair was about. I don't know. There. It's now that. And I usually when I've showered, I usually brush it back. Shouldn't really put in a ponytail, but I do. And then I braid it and just leave it to dry.
Yeah.
Then my hair just comes out white. I'm talking hair products or hair. But thank you once again for tuning in. Fucking hell, for joining me. I'm not live.
That's good.
If I did this live, I'll mess it up even more.
Yeah, but
But,
yeah, good joke.
yeah, but thank you very much, Ian, for appearing on here as the 24th guest. I almost forgot. I got another one tomorrow, actually, with another mate of mine from Wales. He's in a band called Incursion. Yeah, very, very heavy stuff. Very heavy stuff. And a lot of fun on stage, and in their mosh pits when there were still gigs on, they make you battle for a packet of hobnobs. And I think he's frozen. Yeah, I think he's frozen. No, my Wi-Fi's still on. I think he's just frozen. Well, yeah, he's just frozen. Was going